for our council and for the community. I'd like to welcome those in the gallery and also those listening online, and to our councillors, my fellow councillors and our senior leadership team. Thank you for the work that you've done to put this all together. It's been a team effort and a very, very challenging time to get this budget right, but it's I'm proud of what we have achieved, and just thank you all again. So I'll now call, there's no leave of absence or apology, so I'll call on our church leader, Seth Holswich, from the Salvation Army to deliver a prayer for the conduct of the meeting and for our community.
Thank you, Mayor. The reflection and prayer that I'd like to share today is based on Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 7, which reads, "Seek the peace and prosperity of the city. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper." These words were written to God's people living as exiles in Babylon. Rather than withdrawing or becoming bitter whilst in exile, they were called to actively contribute to the flourishing of the city where they lived, even though it wasn't a place they had chosen to live. Strong communities don't happen by accident. They are built when people are willing to serve, to listen, to work together, and to make decisions that look beyond individual interests to the good of the whole community. Each decision made in this chamber today has the potential to shape the lives of individuals, families, and future generations. So as we begin today's meeting, may you keep before you not only the issues on the agenda, but the people these decisions will affect. May every conversation and decision be guided by an overwhelming desire to seek the well-being and flourishing of our community. Let's pray. Lord God, we thank you for those who serve our community through our council. We recognise that this calling to service brings longer hours, competing priorities, unusual levels of stress, and the weight of decisions that affect many lives. Please grant our mayor, each councillor, and each member of council staff wisdom, discernment, and grace as they meet today. May all that is said and every decision that is made contribute to the peace, well-being, and prosperity of the South Burnett region. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Seth, for those inspirational words. Thank you very much. Now, I'll now call on Councillor Jane Erkins for the acknowledgement of country. Excuse me, Councillor Jane, your microphone's not on.
Sorry. I would like to acknowledge the Waka Waka people, the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people joining us today. We recognise the enduring connection of First Nations people to country, culture, waters and community, and acknowledge their continuing contribution to our region.
Thank you, Councillor Erkins. So now, does anyone have a declaration of interest? I don't believe we've got any declarations of interest. It's ordinary business. So we'll move on to the first item for this particular budget meeting, which is 6.1, which is the adoption of the South Burnett Regional Council Annual Operational Plan, and that's on page 6 of the agenda. And the officer's recommendation is that South Burnett Regional Council Annual Operational Plan 26-27 be adopted as presented. Would someone like to move that? Councillor Dineen, seconded by Councillor Potter. So, General Manager Carey, would you like to speak to this, or General Manager Aaron, or CEO Mark?
Mayor, the operational plan is based and built out of the corporate plan. The as amended is just since the agenda was produced and published. On page 16 of the agenda, there's a couple of minor changes just to clarify. OPE 27 clarifies source waste diversion is from landfill. OPE 31 is investigating options, curbside reuse services, additional bins and efficiencies. I'll just won't read these out verbatim, but efficiencies through technology and waste opportunities. And then this one has been discussed with it. It's already another operational matter, but recycling can containers for change, transfer stations and landfills. So we already do some of those, but looking at opportunities. So I'm thinking we can actually fold that into one of the other ones, but that's the minor amendments to it now.
So thank you, CEO Mark. So we're just going to add as amended to this recommendation, the resolution. So I just wanted to also flag the fact that we've added those particular items because we want to be able to have a look more closely this year at how we can save money with our waste. I know that Councillor Heath has got, Sandra has got lots of ideas about how we can do things more efficiently because we really need to be able to cut our costs of waste going forward. Is there any other, does anyone else want to comment on the operational plan? This shapes what we do in the operations for the next 12 months. Everybody happy to vote? Oh, Councillor Erkins.
I know that we all seem very quiet here, but I just want to assure our community that there were lots of discussions went on during workshops as to where we were going, and I think it was a pretty well debated and agreed plan come out of it.
Thank you, Councillor Erkins.
Mayor, I think from memory, there was 15 separate budget workshops. 15
separate budget workshops. Yes, we certainly had a look at every single thing with a fine-tooth comb, and just wanted to thank particularly General Manager Kerry for the working late hours, and I know your team have put in a huge effort to get this right for today. So are we ready to vote? Oh, so Councillor Sander.
Yeah, I also wanted just to say, Mayor, that for the community members and that, it's the operational plan is still governed by regulation and stuff like that, but a lot of it now is focused on the customer. So a lot more for the residents, but we're still governed by certain aspects of it.
That's correct, because we are very much a customer-focused council. Councillor Erkins?
Just when you said there, when you reminded us about the 15 meetings, for 16 meetings, for those who think that we're only ever out in the community with opportunities for photos, to let them know that we do a lot more than mix with community groups.
Thank you, Councillor Erkins. Yes, through the week we're into it, looking at all of our operations and how we can get more efficiencies. And on the weekends we're at functions for the community. So it is very much a full-time job. So are we ready to vote? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. The next item is the 6.2 is on page 28 of the agenda, the adoption of the South Burnett Regional Council Debt Policy 2627 Statutory 010. So the officer's recommendation is that South Burnett Regional Council Debt Policy 2627 Statutory 010 be adopted as presented. Would someone like to move that? Councillor Height, seconded by Councillor Dineen. Any discussion? So the debt policy, Councillor General Manager Kerry, did you want to talk about the debt policy?
So through you, Madam Mayor, so the debt policy is one that we have to do every year as per legislation, especially if we want to borrow any money in our 10-year forecasting. So in our 26-27 debt policy, we have $10 million worth of borrowing. So we've got none this 26-27 year, but we have put some borrowings in for 27-28 and 28-29 to help with our waste and acknowledge that we have to do something in our region with a waste strategy going forward. So that's what we've got in there at the moment.
Councillor Dineen.
I just want to acknowledge that, Manager Kerry, because waste is something that we are very focused on because it's a massive problem. And I'd just like to encourage our community to recycle as much as they possibly can. this is a huge problem for not just our community but the world. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, discussion? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item, I want to move a procedural motion that I'll move it, that we change item 6.3, the Mayor's budget address, to between 6.3 and 6.31. Would someone like to second that? 6:30. Someone like to second that? Councillor Height. I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is 6.4 on page 35 of the agenda. So this one is the statements of estimated financial position to 30th of June 2026. The officer's recommendation is that pursuant to section 205 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the statement of the financial operations and financial position, including capital expenditure of the council in respect of the previous financial year, the statement of estimated financial position be received and its contents noted. Would someone like to move that? Councillor Potter, seconded by Councillor Little. Any discussion? We're ready to vote. Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is on page 6. It's page 35, 6.4. And it's the statement of estimated financial position. Sorry, the next item is 6.5 on page 39, differential general rates, categories and criteria. So this one is the officer's recommendation. It's to do with the differential general rates, categories and criteria 26-27, and the officer's recommendation is that South Bennett Regional Council adopt differential general rates for the year ending the 30th of June 2027. Number 2, pursuant to section 81 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the categories into which rateable land is categorised, description of those categories, and in accordance with sections 81.4 and 81.5 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the method by which land is to be identified and included in its appropriate category is as listed in the table below. And number 3, Council delegates to the Chief Executive Officer the power in accordance with sections 81.4 and 81.5 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 to identify the rating category to which each parcel of rateable land belongs. Would someone like to move that? Councillor Potter, second by Councillor Little. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is the adoption of the differential general rates on page 54 of the agenda. This one is the officer's recommendation. It's pursuant to section 94 of the Local Government Act 2009 and section 80 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the differential general rate to be made and levied for each differential general rate category for the year ending the 30th of June 27 is as follows. And there's different categories in the table that is in the agenda, so I won't read out all those categories. But is someone ready to move that? Councillor Height, seconded by Councillor Deneen. Any discussion? Councillor Height.
Just make a comment that the 2.95% increase to residential and rural categories is one of the lowest in Queensland this year, and I think I commend councillors and staff on how we've worked really hard to try and keep the rate in the dollar, rates down.
Yes, we have worked very hard to do that. Thank you, Councillor Height. Councillor Sander.
Yeah, just on page 55, the water pumping and storage rating. Just wondering if I could get some more information on that.
General Manager Carey, did you want to speak to that one?
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor. So for the water pumping and storage category, there are only a handful that fall into that. Generally, they're ones where they've just got a water pump, like is the main thing on that parcel of land. So rather than categorise it as something else, we do the category as the water pumping. So generally, they've just got water pumps.
How many
on
do
them.
we have that fall into that?
I'd have to have a look to see how many. Can have a look.
Well, let's take that question on notice. How many?
Any other comments? Discussion, ready to vote? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Oh, sorry.
What I just wanted to say is I know that we are all very happy that we've been able to keep that rate down, but I just want to acknowledge that the general managers who came in here with their budgets and the fact that, you know, they were sent back out to cut those budgets down, and that goes all the way down to our workers that are at our counters and out on the street doing the fixing the road maintenance, and to acknowledge that those guys are all working hard and their budgets have been cut for the work that we're doing. And it would be nice to see some acknowledgement from our community on how hard these guys are working and what they're doing. And they're doing that because they, like all of us here, are ratepayers. And what we are trying to do is to give the most efficient service that we can, keeping the rates at an affordable level. So I just want to acknowledge the hard work done by all the staff, from the CEO to the general managers, and all the way down to the guy that's shoveling the dirt into your pothole. And, you know, they really are doing a great job and deserve to be acknowledged and thanked for the work that they are doing, because it's not easy to do some of that work when the criticism that comes across is pretty harsh.
General Manager Carey.
Sorry, I was just going to say that I can answer Councillor Sanders' question on the number in the pumping category. So we've got 10.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. And thank you, Councillor Erkins. Yeah, so I'm proud to see when I drive around the region how the slashing's done. The parks and gardens are all neat and tidy, and the guideposts are mostly straight. And I think that's very important for our region to look presentable, and that's just basic council business, but the staff do a fantastic job. And we've certainly asked for a higher standard, and also particularly, as was said before, about the customer service and making sure we go the extra mile for our customers. So are we ready to vote? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Oh, again, sorry, we've voted for that one. So the next one is item 6.7 on page 57. And this one is the minimum general rates. And the officer's recommendation is in accordance with Section 9(4) of the Local Government Act 2009 and Section 77 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the minimum general rate to be made and levied for the year ending the 30th of June 2026 for each differential general rate category as follows, and that's outlined in the agenda, the different categories. So would someone like to move that? Councillor Erkins. Someone to second that? Councillor Potter. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is 6.8 on page 60. This one is averaging land valuations 2026-27. Officer's recommendation is that pursuant to Section 74 and 76 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, for the purpose of making and levying differential general rates for the 26-27 financial year, the rateable value of land is the 3-year averaged value of land. Would someone like to move that? Councillor Sander, second by Councillor Little. General Manager Carey, would you like to just outline what that means, the averaging of the land valuations?
Yeah, sure. Through you, Madam Mayor. So council has the ability under the local government regulation to utilise averaging for the land valuations. So every 3 years we have the land is revalued across the region through the department. So rather than taking the full hit in the first year for residents, council takes up the option to slowly bring that in over 3 years, just to help out the impact that it would have, especially when we have larger increases like we've seen in recent times.
Thank you, General Manager Carey. So last time we had a massive valuation differences in each category. It caused a lot of grief, and some rates went down and some went up, and that will continue to happen because we're still averaging it out over those 3 years. So are we ready to vote? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is 6.9 on page 62. And this one is the business activities 26-27. And the officer's recommendation, so there's a list of business activities, so I'll just table it as presented. So would someone like to move the business activities 26-27? Councillor Erkins, seconded by Councillor Deneen. Any discussion? General Manager Carey, I just might get you to explain to those listening and in the gallery what this means.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor. So under the Local Government Act and regulation, councils have to identify specific sections of their business where we go over certain thresholds. So with significant business activities, if you have expenditure that's over 9.7 million, or in the case of water, wastewater, if there's 10,000 connections combined, you have to look at it as a significant business activity. And then you have to have a bit of a look and do an exercise to basically apply the Code of Competitive Neutrality and have a look at whether you are going to either do full cost pricing, make it a commercial business unit. Essentially, the legislation is looking to try and make sure that if you have other people in the region that are doing similar services, that you're being competitive with them and they're not at a disadvantage because council, has options to either be able to offset or reduce costs in sections. So they're trying to make sure that it's like for like and have that competitiveness in the market. So this financial year, we do have one significant business activity. So our waste services has gone over that 9.7 million. So that's why in one of the recommendations, we are applying the Code of Competitive Conduct, and we are advising that we are introducing full cost pricing for those services as part of our modelling strategy.
Yes, so thank you, GM Carey. So in other words, we've got to cover our costs. We have to, the ratepayer has to fund the actual cost of that particular service, not like a library where you can just walk in and grab a book. With waste now, it's full cost pricing.
I just wanted to say, as before, thank you very much to General Manager Carey and the other in our team for understanding this so well and doing this for years and preparing the financial concerns of the organisation to make this a smooth transition, because we've known for a long time that the waste would get up to this level. The same with the connections for the water. So they really understand this and drill down and make it less of a jump for the community. And we really appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Deneen. Councillor Erkins.
Through you, Madam Mayor, one of the things for those online that council are doing is they're going to actually do a breakdown on that waste so that people can see exactly where the costs are in the waste. An example would be that when the waste stations came in, it's because we have to, we are charged by state government for every bit of waste that goes into our landfill. And I think that's something that's difficult for community to understand. So our manager Poynton is going to be doing out a fact sheet for us that we can then distribute amongst the community so they've got a better understanding of the fact that the costs. I know people say, you know, what do we get for our rates? Well, that's one of the costs that rates are covering, and that'll be good when we get that fact sheet.
Thank you, Councillor Erkins. Any other discussion? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is special charge. It's 6.10 on page 67, special charge, Rural Fire Brigades 2627. So the special charge is as the officer's recommendation, pursuant to Section 94 of the Local Government Act 2009 and Section 94 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 and Section 15(2) ZD of the Fire Services Act 1990. And there's a list of recommendations that are tabled on the agenda. So, but basically the levy will be $25 per rateable assessment on all rateable land not situated in an urban fire brigade area as defined by the Queensland Fire Service. Would someone like to move the recommendation? Councillor Potter, second by Councillor Sander. Any discussion? So I just wanted to mention that I think the Rural Fire Service is doing an amazing job, and this $25 levy, it goes to I think there's a committee, is the CEO Mark, a committee that works out where their priorities are and how that is distributed, but they certainly do an amazing job, our rural fire brigades. So are we ready to vote?
Sorry.
Oh, Councillor
Sorry,
Erkins.
No, I'm paying. I'd just like to encourage, hopefully there are some of our community watching, but I'd like to encourage people to look at joining their rural fire brigades, because we definitely, like all volunteer organisations, it's an ageing group, and some young members in those rural fire brigades would definitely be welcomed.
Yes, Councillor Erkins, 100% agree. So are we ready to vote? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is on page 69 of the agenda, item 6.11, and that was the adoption of discount on rates 2627. And the officer's recommendation is that for 26-27 financial year, and pursuant to Section 130 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the differential general rates, waste, water, utility charges, water access charges, refuge collection charges, including recycling, made and levied shall be subject to an early payment discount of 10% if paid within the discount period of 30 days of the date of issue of the rate notice provided. That and there's a list of recommendations, and that is, I'll just table those rather than read them out, but certainly, and I'll ask someone to move that. Councillor Little, seconded by Councillor Sander. Councillor Little.
Thank you, Mayor Kathy. I just want to acknowledge the work of all of us, councillors and senior staff, on being able to keep this discount within our rates. A lot of other council areas now have removed discounts for payment periods, so I'm really proud that we were able to keep our discounts in place. And I'd just like to encourage any seniors or pensioners who are out there that have not come in and updated their details to please do so before the rate notices go out. Otherwise you will miss out on your discount. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Little. And as you've mentioned, a lot of councils, I think most councils have either reduced the discount or taken it away, but that is as effectively as good as a 10% rate rise, because if you can pay that early, you save 10% of your general rate and also those service charges. So it is a huge issue and a huge achievement that we've been able to keep that 10%, because and I know that other councils think that they could just slip it out of the budget, but it is effectively as good as a 10% rate rise. So I think that we're one of the only other councils that only council, probably one of the very few that still keep that 10% discount. So anyone else want to comment? Councillor Sander?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that if everyone took us up on that, it would be a benefit to the community of around $5.54 million if everyone took us up on that 10%.
Yep, it's a significant amount of money. So thank you for raising that. Are we ready to vote? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is 6.12 on page 71 of the agenda, and this one is the adoption of exemptions and concessions on various special, separate and utility charges, 2627. There's the officer's recommendation as presented. So would someone like to move that? Councillor Potter, seconded by Councillor Height. Councillor Potter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. With regards to this, we don't often get told or commented on with regards to what we give to our community. I would just like people to take note of this, that the differential general rates, we give 100% discount to a lot of these different community groups. And it does mean a lot of money that does not come into council because we don't charge them. But this is our way of supporting all those different groups and organisations out there that serve our community. So we don't get many kudos for some of the things we do, but this is something I would really like this to be put in the media as one of those good news stories, because this is what people don't know that we give to our community.
So thank you, Councillor Potter. So the concession categories with Queensland Country Women's Association, youth accommodation, youth groups, scouts, guides, seniors and welfare groups, kindergartens, service and other clubs, showgrounds, race grounds, museums, theatres, heritage, sporting groups and associations, charitable organisations, community-owned halls get 100% discount on their general rates, 100% discount on their separate rates. They've got varying water access discounts, same with sewerage, and the waste bin is pretty much 100%. What we've got discounts, varying discounts, but this youth groups certainly get 100% discount. So that's, as Councillor Potter said, we do really bend over backwards to make sure that our community groups are supported, and because in a lot of cases they are looking after our council assets, but they also do an amazing job volunteering to run events and all sorts of things that make our region the great place that it is. So thank you. Anyone? Councillor Erkins.
Can I just make mention of the fact that looking around at our councillors, I think every one of our councillors are involved in community groups, and they do understand the pressures that are put on community groups. So it is great that we give that discount, but that's one of the things that is great. They're all involved in community events and community organisations.
Thanks, Councillor Erkins. Any other comments? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is 6.13 on page 74 of the agenda. And that one is the adoption of the concession of water consumption charges, hemodialysis machines 2627. And I'll just table the officer's recommendation. Would someone like to move that? Councillor Potter, seconded by Councillor Little. Any discussion? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is 6.14 on page 76 of the agenda. So this one is the adoption of the setting of concession on rates and charges for approved pensioners. And I'll just table the officer's recommendation. Would someone like to move that? Councillor Sander, seconded by Councillor Dineen. So this one is the discount for pensioners. So any discussion?
I think I got the other one confused. So we have the general discount for early payment, and then this one here is for the pensioners. So it's an extra bonus for our senior cits. So again, I'll just say, if you want the discount, you need to get into council and register your details.
Thank you, Councillor Little. Councillor Sander.
Yeah, I just want to say that just ensure that anyone that is eligible for this, to make sure that they bring all that information into council or update it, just so that they don't get dropped off of the, if they were previously on it and it's not updated, then they'll be dropped off it and there'll be a surprise when they get their rates. But this also results in an estimated cost of around $1 million that people can take advantage of out of council if they do apply for this.
Thank you, Councillor Sander. Councillor Erkins.
One of the things that has been raised with me by a number of people over the years, and CEO Mark might like to answer this, is that a lot of people have asked about self-funded retirees and the fact that they don't get a discount, and I just would like to know whether that's at all possible in future years.
CEO Mark.
Oh, it's a good question, Councillor. It's a tricky one because a lot of it's based on the criteria whether people get their seniors card or other aspects. It's an area that we're continuing to look at as what can be done. There's no simple short answer today, but it is an area that bears further investigation to ensure that we can. Unfortunately, with a lot of these things, there is regulation around who's eligible for different bits and pieces, and we've opened it up as broadly as we can at the minute, but it's a work in progress.
Thank you. I just wanted the matter raised because it has been raised with me by a number of different people at different times. So just if we can look at it maybe during the year and next year, come up with some, either a yes or a no, but so people are aware and the reasons behind it.
Yep. Thank you, Councillor Erkins. We're ready to vote. Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is 6.15 on page 78. And this one is the adoption of waiving minimum general rates 26-27. And I'll just table the officer's recommendation. Would someone like to move that one? Councillor Height, second by Councillor Potter. Any discussion? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. So the next item is 6.16 on page 80. So this one is the interest on overdue rates 26-27. The officer's recommendation is that for the 26-27 financial year, pursuant to section 133 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, compound interest on daily rests at the rate of 9% per annum is to be charged on all overdue rates or charges. And South Bend Regional Council determined that rates or charges will be considered as overdue for the charging of interest if they remain unpaid after 60 days from the due date of the relevant rate notice. So 9% is the minimum that we could charge. I think it was up to 12% we could charge on overdue rates, but we've gone for the lowest one because we want to try and help our ratepayers as much as possible. So someone to move that. Councillor Potter, second by Councillor Height. Councillor Potter.
Yep. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would hope that in the end we don't have people getting charged this. My hope is that people who have any type of financial issues come straight into council and chat with us with regards to our financial hardship policy. This is something that's really important. They need to come in, they need to get in early. Don't leave it till it's too late. We want to help you. We don't like the idea of you not coming in and getting that help that's available. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Potter. Absolutely. Councillor Height.
So I was going to say a similar thing to Councillor Potter, that if somebody is struggling with their rates and come in and get on a payment plan, then the interest is withheld. So rather than continuing to pay interest, if you get onto a payment plan, then you don't pay the interest. So it's always better to be on a plan.
Thank you, Councillor Height. Are we ready to vote? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is on page 82 of the agenda. And this one is the levy and payment of rates and charges 2627. And so this one, the officer's recommendation is, I think we're amending this one. It's been changed. So that it's on the screen, the officer's recommendation. So that's for the half year, 1st of July 26 to the 31st of December 26 in October 26, and for the half year, the 1st of January 27 to June the 30th, January 27 to the 30th of June will be in April 2027. So that's that's a change. So we're going to levy the rates in October and April. So is someone ready to vote for that one? Councillor Sander, seconded by Councillor Little. Councillor Sander.
Yeah, can you just update the community why we changed those dates, the months?
So CEO Mark, did you want to speak to that one, or?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Mayor. There's been some feedback at different points in time, particularly, and it is, trying to think of how to easily answer it in one sentence. We're actually conscious of Christmas school holidays and other aspects. So this year is, once our trial, but we're starting to look at different opportunities and dates that we can move to try and avoid, particularly the Christmas New Year period. There is when the 60-day comes up and when notices go out for overdue rates and a range of things. There is, and particularly the period after Christmas, some of the feedback we've had back over a period of time is that's a difficult period for people and families as they come out of that Christmas period. This may change again, it may go back, but it's certainly something that we're looking at this year to try and address some of that feedback and to try and address some of that feedback, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Erkins.
Yeah, I think it was also, we looked at it coming into Christmas holidays, but also starting school and letting people get over the expenses of school before the next lot of rates came out. I think that was part of the discussion.
Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, we'll put to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. The next item is on page 84, item 6.18. The officer's recommendation is a Proston Common. This is to do with Proston Common effluent disposal utility charges 2627. So I'll just table the officer's recommendation as presented. So someone to move that. Councillor Sander, second by Councillor Deneen. So this one here is the Proston Common effluent disposal utility charges. It's because the Proston has a different sewerage system. They've got a common effluent as opposed to the sewerage that is provided across our region. So that's why Proston has its own separate charge. So we're ready to vote. Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. The next item is 6.19 on page 86. And this one is a separate charge, community rescue and evacuation 2627. And I'll just table it as presented. Someone to move that. Councillor Potter, seconded by Councillor Little. Councillor Potter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As an ambassador for Lifelight, I must say that this is actually a really important one for our community. We have over 250 evacuations from the South Burnett every single year. Those evacuations can cost $16,000 and over, some up to $35,000 and more, depending on their skills and needed with the doctors and the equipment that's needed. So this is something that's really important. I think we all know someone that's been touched by Lifelight, that's been evacuated by Lifelight. So for me, this is a very personal and thank you, Council, for keeping this up. We've been doing it for quite a few years. I really couldn't tell. I think it's over 20 years the Council's been doing this one. So thank you to the Council for this one.
Thank you, Councillor Potter, and thank you for the work that you do as an ambassador for Lifelight. It is, as you have said, a very, very important service for our region. So are we ready to vote? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is on page 88 of the agenda, 6.20. So this one is a separate charge waste management levy, 2627, and I'll table it as presented. Someone to move that? Councillor Erkins, second by Councillor Little. Any discussion?
I think this comes back, Madam Mayor, to the discussions we had earlier about waste having to become viable and having to pay for itself. Again, echoing Councillor Dineen's words that people need to be more conscious of the waste that we're putting into landfill and try and recycle wherever possible. But also, I think it's, I know that through the LGAQ, we need to be lobbying more suppliers who pack their packaging, so much packaging. So, you know, that's probably something we can promote and have our community promote.
Thank you, Councillor Erkins. Councillor Sander.
Yeah, I think this, like, people will jump up and down about this. It's gone up $37 on last year. But overall, like, people throw abuse at council and stuff and say that, you know, they're not doing their bit to reduce waste. Well, we can't reduce waste. The council can't do it. It's the people that have to do it. The community has to reduce the waste that we're dealing with. So we're going to trial different things this year to try and see if we can reduce the cost on council's end to assist with the waste and the amount we get. But we also need the community to be smarter and try and help us and assist us. Like, we're at the end of the line. We need to start at the beginning and get the community to do their bit to try and help us as a council and as a community. And if we can reduce the amount it costs, well, then it's cheaper for them as well. So we're going to trial different stuff this year to see what we can do.
That's exactly right. We're wanting to encourage where we can recycling, and also we're trying to avoid the illegal dumping. And unfortunately, we've had to fence some of our transfer stations, which has caused some issues around our region, but it's because of illegal dumping that has cost us a huge amount of money. So thank you, Councillor Sander, for raising that important point. Any other questions, comments? Ready to vote? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is on page 107, on page 90 of the agenda, and that one is, the next item is on page 107, item 6.22, the setting of wastewater utility charges. It is page 90, 6.21. So this one here is the waste collection utility charges, 2627. And I'll table that as presented. Someone to move that? Councillor Height, seconded by Councillor Potter. Any discussion? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. The next item is on page 107. And this one is the setting of wastewater utility charges, item 6.22. So I'll table this one as presented. Someone to move? Councillor Height, seconded by Councillor Dineen. Any discussion? Wastewater utility charges 2627. So no comments, discussion. Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. The next item is on page 109, item 6.23. This one is the water supply access charge methodology, 2627. I'll table that as presented. Someone to move that? Councillor Dineen, seconded by Councillor Potter. Any discussion? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. The next item is on page 111, item 6.24, water supply charges 2627. There's a whole graph there, and I'll table that as presented. Councillor Height has moved that, seconded by Councillor Erkins. Councillor Height.
Yes, I would just like to make mention that We supply both potable and non-potable water across the region in different water schemes, and they've always been charged the same amount, which I've always thought very inequitable. So I'm really pleased that this year, for the first time, those that are on non-potable water, which is Cumbia, Warrulan and part of Nanango, have a slightly lower charge. It's not a lot, but if you don't have potable water, you actually can't use that water for drinking, cooking, showering, all sorts of things. So I'm very pleased that we've addressed that inequity and reduced the charge for the non-potable water.
Thank you, Councillor Hyde. Any other discussion? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is on page 114 of the agenda, and this is 6.25, the water supply consumption charge methodology, 2627. I'll table that as presented. Someone like to move that one? Councillor Little, seconded by Councillor Sander. Any discussion? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is on page 116 of the agenda, 6.26, Special Charge Annual Implementation Plan, Road Maintenance, Burrabro Road Quarry, 2627. I'll table this as presented. It's quite a long report and recommendation. Someone like to move that? Councillor Hyde, seconded by Councillor Little. General Manager Aaron, did you want to outline the reason why we have these separate charges for the quarries?
Yeah, certainly. Good morning, Council. Through the Chair, so what we each year where we have an extractive industry such as a quarry, Council does levy a charge which is known as special rates through its budget meeting. What that does is allow quarry operators to take some staged approach to the development of their quarries, and what they do is they pay a contribution to the accelerated degradation of the road over the longer term, but also pay an annual maintenance levy, which Council takes through its special rates. In the case where we don't levy a charge, we still bring that down by resolution, where the quarry may be taking a very small quantity or might be temporarily inoperable or may not have commenced significant operations at this time. So there's a number of reports there, Mayor, to go through. Some will charge and some will not levy a charge, but they're still brought down as part of the budget resolution process.
Thank you, GM Aaron. So any questions, comments? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is on page 119, and that's again a special charge. It's item 6.27, Special Charge Annual Implementation Plan, Road Maintenance, Manar Road Quarry, 2627. I'll table that as presented. Someone to move that? Councillor Sanders, seconded by Councillor Little. Any discussion around this one? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is page 123. Again, it's a special charge. It's item 6.28, Special Charge Annual Implementation Plan, Road Maintenance, Tim Dwyer Road Quarry, 2627. Table that as presented. Someone to move that? Councillor Erkins, seconded by Councillor Little. Any discussion? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is 6.29 on page 127, and this one is again a special charge. Annual Implementation Plan, Road Maintenance, Wattle Grove Road Quarry, 2627. Someone to move that as presented? Councillor Erkins, seconded by Councillor Potter. Any discussion? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item is page 131, 6.30, and this one is the Special Charge Annual Implementation Plan, Road Maintenance, Wilson's Road Quarry, 2627. Someone to move that one? Councillor Hyde, seconded by Councillor Little. Any discussion? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. So the next item is the one that we moved forward, which is the Mayor's Budget Address for 2627. So I'll just go to the podium to read my budget address. On behalf of our council team, I am pleased to hand down the 26-27 financial year budget. This budget has been extra challenging with rising fuel costs, electricity prices, insurance premiums, and other costs placing more and more pressure on both our community and council's operations. We recognise the cost of living pressures facing everyone, so we have done everything possible to reduce costs within our organisation and find greater efficiencies. We want to ensure that we are delivering the best value that we can for our community. I'm pleased that we have kept the overall general rate increase for residential to 2.95% and commercial and industrial to 3.95%. Within the categories, because of the 3-year averaging and last year's revaluations, there will still be winners and losers, with some going up and some going down. With service charges, we continue to work towards full cost recovery, with water access, wastewater and waste services having varying increases to keep up with the rising cost of delivering these services. Waste in particular is a continuous issue, with the cost of government compliance causing us to have to fence some of our rural transfer stations. We continue to encourage everyone to recycle and sort waste, particularly commercial users, to help keep the costs down. Our rate rise is very minimal compared to some other councils that I know have reached double-digit figures. We have also kept our 10% discount that many other councils have removed. The 10% discount for early payment not only comes off general rates, it also includes water access, wastewater and wheelie bin collection charges. Eligible South Burnett pensioners can also receive up to $400 per annum off their annual rate fee plus 50% off recycling charges. In this budget, there will be upgrades to some of the depots because of a change in work structure. We are empowering local teams to deliver services closer to home, reducing costs while keeping local jobs and expertise within our communities. We have kept a large focus on roads and have invested $16.56 million on reseals to continue to minimise the bitumen potholes. We have budgeted $4.85 million in our operational budget to be spent on our sealed roads and $2.54 million on our unsealed roads, and this will include drainage work. We are also investing time and effort into sourcing good quality gravel to ensure best practice with our gravel resheeting program. $2.6 million will be spent on stormwater drainage, including curb and channel, culverts, new and renewals, and $560,000 on footpath renewals and upgrades. We successfully air scoured the Blackbutt and Banarkan water pipes last year, and this year we will be working on Mergen and Wandai's water pipes. Water continues to be a major focus, with $2.2 million going to the Mount Warrulin Reservoir and $8.5 million to the Gordon Brook off-stream storage upgrade. Repairs to Kingaroy's wastewater plant due to trade waste damage has unfortunately cost this council and our community $2.8 million. Council is well advanced in our biosecurity plans, and I'm pleased to announce that we are investing funds into a feral pig subsidy program, and in this budget we are designing a weed seed washdown facility. Council remains in a strong financial position with a healthy cash balance, no new borrowings, and a strong focus on maintaining our assets. Unfunded depreciation remains broadly consistent with last year, and we are pleased to work with the community to continue to deliver on their community plans. I would like to thank CEO Mark Pitt, our Financial General Manager Kerry, Infrastructure General Manager Aaron, my fellow councillors, and everyone who helped to put this budget together. This budget will continue to deliver the best possible outcomes for our community within the resources we have, and we look forward to a customer-focused council serving our wonderful community. Thank you, and God bless. So I'd like to move my budget address. Someone to second that? I'll let the Deputy Mayor, Linda Little, second that one. Any discussion? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. So now I know that each one of the councillors would like to talk to the particularly their divisional budget sections. So I'll ask Division 1 Councillor Jane Erkins to present her address. Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor Kathy, fellow councillors, staff and members of the community. As we come through another budget process, I want to acknowledge just how challenging this work has been. Preparing a responsible budget is never simply a matter of balancing figures on a page. It means weighing the cost of maintaining roads, water, parks, community facilities and essential services against the very real pressure that rates place on households, businesses and primary producers. 2025-26 was a busy time with quite a few upgrades done. Footpaths, pools, pumps, sewer pumps, bitumen reseals, parks and gardens, fountains to name just a few. I'm now looking forward to our 26-27 year. Some new projects planned starting with improved access to the disability toilet at the Cultural Centre in Nanango. I'm really looking forward to the refurbishment of the amenities at the Reg McCallum Park. They're very dated and we're looking at making these more user-friendly. A lot of my budget has been put aside for this upgrade and I urge the community to assist in reporting any damage. It is time we said enough is enough to vandals with our facilities. These facilities are important to our residents because many, when they run out of town water or they have power issues, come into town for showers. We'll also have a family room that I think will be fabulous for those families needing to come and use the facilities. Hopefully funding will also allow for a little refurbishment of the toilet facilities in the Cultural Centre, which definitely needs some TLC. Upgrades are continuing to Brighthaven, which are council's aged care units. Money is allocated each year to keep the units in good condition. Pioneer Park will get replacement bollards to keep vehicles off the grounds and replacement pegs on the climbing wall. We're hoping to use a local supplier with recycled plastics for the bollards and climbing pegs, and I'm keen to see this project progress. For over 40 years, many little people have climbed and enjoyed the Lions Playground Park. Newer swings for the bigger kids have been installed and will now be replacing the older section with some new play equipment and soft fall. There will also be seating for parents under the shade floor. The park is well serviced with barbecues and well utilised for birthdays and family get-togethers. Some repairs on the park at Butter Factory are also planned for the next generation of bike riders. Ringsfield House Gardens have been very well looked after. There will be some changes to the gardens, removing some of the old garden beds and creating more space, especially for the Tai Chi users. The schoolhouse will get a much needed roof replacement and we're hoping to get some music happening again in the gardens. There are several new projects lined up with the bitumen reseal in Cairn Street, Elk Street and George Street, an upgrade to the Memorandum Barkers Creek Road, installation of a light at Brown Street to give better visibility at the creek crossing, replacement of the damaged Nanango town entry signs and a reseal program on Old S North Road and Cherb channeling, renewing in Alfred and Brisbane Street. The Old S North Road is a joint project with myself, Division 1, and Linda in Division 2. We're hoping to do an exchange with main roads between Drayton Street and Appin Street, the heavy vehicle bypass, along with upgrades at the Cairn Street and Appin Street corner. All in all, I think that's a pretty impressive list of projects for the next financial year, and I'm looking forward to improvements continuing not only for Division 1, but across our whole region. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Erkins. I'll call on Deputy Mayor Linda Little to give the Division 2 update on what's happening in her division in this financial year.
Good morning, everybody. It's lovely to see some people here in the gallery for this meeting. Working towards a budget that is in keeping with community expectations has proven challenging for the 26-27 budget year. As councillors, we have many budget meetings with the CEO and senior management to put forward our proposals and ideas for each councillor division. Everyone has worked extremely hard to work within the strategic and operational plans of our council. We have also had to consider the expectations of our residents within the community plans. This has proven especially challenging with the rising costs of living and the ability to pay for the services that we all expect from council. The 26-27 financial year will see some long-awaited capital works projects commencing throughout Division 2. There is $340,000 allocated to Maidenwell for much-needed upgrades to the sports ground amenities, replacing bollards at the memorial and refurbishing the public toilets. The final works for Queensland project will see the public toilet constructed at the Brisbane Valley Rail Trail precinct in Blackbutt. This is great news for the residents who use the skate park with their families, as well as all the visitors and rail trail users. There is a budget of $2.259 million for new road upgrades throughout Division 2 and a little bit of Division 1 in this financial year. The Blackbutt Water Treatment Plant will receive a $220,000 upgrade to enable council to continue to supply potable water to the community. There are also many other smaller projects that will be occurring throughout the year in Division 2. I want to thank all the staff and my fellow councillors for the work they have put in to find savings and fund important works for the residents of Division 2. This has taken a considerable effort to keep our rates and services to a reasonable level. The total capital works budget for Division 2 this financial year totals $3.291 million. I look forward to working within my division with the residents in the coming year and seeing these and many more projects around our region come to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Linda. I'll call on Councillor Danita Potter to give the Division 3 overview of the budget happenings in Division 3.
Thank you very much, Mayor. So, preparing a council budget is one of the most challenging responsibilities we have as elected representatives. Every figure on a page represents a real decision that affects communities, businesses, farmers, families, and the future of our region. Household budgets are stretched by the higher grocery prices, electricity bills, insurance premiums, fuel costs, and interest rates. Many families are making difficult choices every single day, and we understand those pressures because we all feel them as well. What many people may not realise is that councils are facing those same financial challenges. The costs of constructing roads, maintaining parks, collecting waste, operating libraries, providing community facilities, and delivering essential services has increased significantly. Materials, fuels, machinery, insurances, electricity, and contractor costs have all risen, placing enormous pressures on council's own budget. This year's budget includes important bitumen reseals in Tbinga and Kingaroy, helping to improve road safety and extend the life of our local road network. We are continuing with work at the Animal Management Centre to ensure we provide modern facilities that meet the compliance needs and requirements for our animals and our community. We are investing in solar panels on council buildings to reduce the long-term electricity costs. This is a practical investment that will help lower operating expenses over time, allowing more money to be redirected back to community services and infrastructure. This budget also provides for curb and channel construction along Markville Street and also from the Kingaroy Hospital emergency entrance through to Albert Street, improving drainage, accessibility and safety. Essential water mains replacement and sewer extensions will strengthen the reliability of our water and sewer networks in our region, which continues to grow. Major infrastructure projects such as Gordonbrook Water Treatment Plant upgrades and the trunk sewer main are critical investments. While these projects are significant, they are necessary to secure reliable services for our community now and into future generations. I'm also most excited to say that we have budgeted for a detailed design plan for the Kingaroy Pool. This means that we will be shovel ready for any grant opportunities that might be available in the future. No budget will ever satisfy the expectations, but this budget reflects careful consideration, responsible financial management, and a commitment to delivering projects that matter most. We have worked hard to balance today's challenges with the opportunities of tomorrow, ensuring the South Burnett remains a strong, resilient, and thriving region for everyone. I would like to thank my fellow councillors, the Mayor, CEO Mark, General Managers Kerry and Aaron, along with all the council staff for the many hours of work that went into preparing this budget. It is not simply about balancing the books, it's about balancing the needs of today with the opportunities of tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Potter. I'll now call on Councillor Deneen for the Division 4 update and what's happening in the budget for Division 4.
Thanks, Mayor Cathy. Hi, everybody. Another interesting year with Mayor Cathy, fellow councillors and senior staff working around what the community needs and what we can deliver. Livability in the South Burnett is behind every decision that is made by council, and the balance between replacing and repairing our ageing infrastructure and planning for future growth is a balancing act that we continue to work on. Council is grateful for the support from other levels of government to assist deliver upgrades to our infrastructure. Projects being completed this year include the replacement of mains in Ivy Street, which is well underway. If you happen to live in that area, you'll know. Premier Drive reservoir relining and an upgrade to Apex Park lookout fencing and paths. Apex Park has had an additional playground equipment installed, and there's now a spinning orb next to the pirate ship, which will be suitable for a variety of ages. I know my granddaughters use them. This is such a well-used park, and it's great to see the continued development there. The Tesmans Road footpath extensions is nearly completed and will provide a link for walkers, cyclists and those on mobility scooters from the northern end of Kingaroy to the centre. The medians in Fisher Street and the Diagula Highway using Works for Queensland funding have been repaired and have really smartened up the areas. There have been upgrades to the footpath at the top of Fisher Street with a kick around the power pole halfway up that challenging hill, and work on the section of path adjacent to the Carroll Nature Reserve is not far from starting. New projects on the road network this year include bitumen reseals for Tesmans Road, Blair Drive, Curtis Road, and Munoz Street will have sections of the curb and channel replaced as they are definitely ageing. The Memorandum Playground will be developed and will include a mouse wheel and has been substantially funded from my Works for Queensland funding. I know this will be a welcome asset for that developing community. These projects from Division 4 and those in the whole South Burnett will be completed by our own teams, with contractors being brought in when necessary. The South Burnett Regional Council team, who now run the Animal Management Centre, have made many positive changes to service and put their hearts into caring for the animals who need them. So thanks so much to the residents of Division 4 for your positive feedback and constructive ideas. A huge thanks to our staff, the council team, from the South Burnett Regional Council. You are definitely the best.
Thank you, Councillor Deneen. I'll call on Councillor Heath Sander for the Division 5 update and what's happening in Division 5 in this financial year.
we saved the budget already by printing this so small, I can't read it. This year's budget is about making smart decisions that strengthen the South Burnett for the future. Investments have been carefully considered, ensuring we deliver the greatest value while protecting the essential infrastructure that the community rely on every day. The projects I'm highlighting today represent just a snapshot of many investments planned throughout Division 5. One of the most significant decisions in this budget is the reallocation of funding from planned water main replacements in Mergen at the hospital reservoir to McAllister Street to allow the extra $156,000 direct investment into the Lamb Street water main replacement. And by delivering the Lamb Street water main replacement alongside the scheduled stormwater works, Council can complete both projects at the same time. This means businesses and residents and motorists will only experience disruption once rather than multiple interruptions. After more than 30 years of community advocacy, $119,000 has been committed to the Watt Street curb and channel upgrade in Mergen, improving drainage, road safety and the appearance to one of the township's key streets. Council is also investing $340,000 in the Crownthorpe Road bitumen reseal program and $175,000 into Kangaroo Yard Road. Wheatland's bitumen reseal program, ensuring that the important rural transports routes remain safe and reliable. Beyond roads, this budget invests into facilities keeping rural communities connected. Funding has also been allocated to replace the rear roof at the Proston Showgrounds Pavilion, to undertake minor footpath upgrades along Rodney Street in Proston, install a brand new dump point at Highsville, maintenance in replacing the ceiling and drainage at the Proston Administration and Library building, and renovate the Capenic Park public toilets at Table Ends. These investments, together with $970,000 commitment to the Boondooma water treatment plant and $200,000 for the Webbers Bridge Road timber bridge deck replacement, demonstrate a council that plans ahead rather than waiting for infrastructure to fail. This year's 2.95% general rate rise are both responsible and necessary. I understand that no one welcomes a rate increase, and that's myself included. However, the reality is that the cost of construction, materials, and maintaining essential infrastructure continues to rise. Choosing not to invest today would only result in a greater cost and disruptions in the future. I proudly support this budget as it reflects responsible leadership, careful financial management, and a commitment to ensuring the South Burnett remains a resilient, connected, and prosperous region for generations to come. Additionally, my focus is on planning for a stronger, more efficient water and wastewater network that supports long-term needs of Mergen, Wondai and Sherburne. This is about thinking beyond today's challenges and planning for tomorrow's opportunities. By investing wisely in infrastructure, we have the opportunity to deliver significant financial savings over the life of these assets. My goal is to build a more financially resilient and sustainable future for the South Burnett by making informed decisions today and deliver long-lasting benefits for our communities.
Thank you, Councillor Sander. Now call on Councillor Ros Height to give a Division 6 update and overview of the budget for Division 6.
Thank you, Mayor Cathy. And I'm very proud to be part of this council team, delivering our third budget for this term of the South Burnett Regional Council. In this time of escalating costs, it's been a challenge to balance delivering services and keeping the rate rise to a minimum, as we recognise the cost of living pressures on many residents. The councillors and staff have put in many long hours in this detailed document and worked well together, always focusing on our commitment to the region and the two key priorities of this term, to give attention to the financial sustainability of council and continue to support our towns and villages. This is particularly relevant to me as the representative of Division 6, the largest division with the most individual towns and villages, which each have their own character and identity, and I value council's commitment to each town and village. Just a few brief highlights from the budget. In Wanda, I'm looking forward to particularly the new playground in Coronation Park, which has been a long time coming. We've done extensive community consultation, and the new railway train themed playground will be a fantastic asset to the residents and the whole region. And hopefully the Wandai town clock should be fixed once and for all. Of special mention is the new playground in Memorandee, and thanks to Councillor Deneen from Division 4, who assisted with her works for Queensland funds. This will be something special for this little community and will be a great point of interest. Tingura has had drainage issues since forever, and last financial we actually planned the whole village drainage system, and this financial year I'm excited that we will start by spending 800,000 on new drainage in Muller Street. It will take many years for the whole village drainage to be finished, but I'm pleased that we've actually started on this challenging program. The Cumbia footpath, as requested by residents, will be an asset to the town, and Waroolan replacement playground equipment, Crawford new toilet, and most importantly, bitumen reseals and on many roads across our region. I'm very excited that we have rectified a long-standing issue that those supplied with non-potable water have been paying the same amount as for water that is potable. The budget for the first time, we have a lower cost for non-potable water for the residents of Cumbia, Waroolan, and a small part of Nanango. I'm glad we've actually made this equitable decision for these residents. We endeavour to always deliver the best customer service to provide excellent customer satisfaction. And in closing, I'm hoping for a kind new financial year with a good growing season, no disasters, and our residents safe and prospering. Thank you.
The highlights of the budget for this coming financial year. And I'm really pleased that that I know that it was controversial when I decided, or we all decided to not have portfolios, but rather keep the councillors working in their divisions. I think they've done a mighty job. And with the community plans, we're making sure that all of those small communities, they're not being missed out, that they all feel like they're part of this whole South Burnett Regional Council. So thank you and congratulations to all of you for your hard work in each of your divisions and for bringing the highlights for each section and your divisions to the table so that we can consider them as we have as part of this whole budget process. And now we are going to go to the exciting moving of the actual 26-27 budget. So the officer's recommendation is that we adopt the council's budget for 26-27 financial year. And I'd like to move that, and I'll ask probably Deputy Mayor Linda to second that one. And any discussion? General Manager Carey.
Sorry, I just wanted to just make a statement. So the revenue statement that's included in the agenda, there have been a few minor wording adjustments for some things when we went through and just did a double check to make sure that everything matched and was correct. So we just found a handful of small minor wording changes that need to happen. So the revenue statement will be as amended.
Thank you. Thank you, General Manager Carey. So I'll just read out the recommendation that pursuant to sections 169 and 170 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council's budget for the 26-27 financial year, incorporating 1, the statements of financial position, 2, the statements of cash flow, 3, the statements of income and expenditure, 4, the statements of changes in equity, 5, the capital budget, 6, the long-term financial forecast, 7, the revenue statement as amended, 8, the revenue policy adopted on June 2026, 9, the relevant measures of financial sustainability, and 10, the total value of the change expressed as a percentage in the rates and utility charges levied for the financial year compared with the rates and utility charges levied in the previous budget as adopted, as table be adopted. So no further discussion. Put it to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you for our budget meeting. Thank you again to all of those who in the gallery and those listening online. And thank you again to all of our senior leadership team, councillors and staff who have contributed towards this special budget meeting. So we're just going to get some, we'll close the meeting.